Removing harmful information from your credit report. Is it wrong if it's right? Brought to you by yourlegalagot.com, your advantage if you're being sued by debt collectors. In this video, we discuss the morality of removing bad information from your credit report, even if that information happens to be correct. Some people believe that if the information is correct, they should just leave it on their reports. We argue otherwise. First, let's review what your credit report is. As obvious as it may sound, it isn't obvious. It isn't one thing, actually. You know there are lots of credit reports out there. The big three are just a beginning. Many other companies keep and share information on you. And within these reports are important subsets. For example, most people think that information on their credit reports expires after 7 to 10 years, and that is true to a point. But did you know that this information never expires for certain people and purposes? That is, if you're seeking a job with a salary likely to exceed $75,000 or insurance with a face value beyond $250,000, there is no expiry date for any information. Did you know that? You may not think that wrong information is hurting you now or will ever hurt you, but you could be wrong. The price of bad credit information is big, and it adds up over time in ways that matter. A bad credit report may not scare you as much as a lawsuit, but it drains your hope and adds cost to everything you do. You would expect your credit report to include your use of credit, but rather than think of it as a credit report, you should probably think of it as a credit worthiness report, because it includes much more than just your use of credit. They aren't designed to keep an impartial record of your use of credit. They're designed to help businesses make judgments about you, whether to give you credit, yes, but also whether to give you a job, let you rent one of their apartments, give you insurance, and at what cost, let you rent a car, or do anything else. The companies are always asking for credit reports these days. It affects you almost every day in unseen ways. So what is your credit report? Obviously, it includes information from your credit-involving transactions. But it also includes lifestyle information like judgments or liens, arrests and conviction records, and even job investigations under certain circumstances. Actually, very little is safe from your reports. And that brings us to our question: is it wrong to remove bad information even if it's true? Let's tackle the moral question first. Do you think that you have a moral duty to let businesses keep track of you for their own commercial purposes? If they're doing that, do you have a moral obligation to help them in any way? Do you have an obligation to make sure the information they get in their snooping into your history is correct? It's probably obvious that I think you don't, right? You aren't asking them to keep this information, and you may well be opposed to their doing so for any number of reasons. Why should you play their game? You might think you had a moral duty to give them as much false information as possible to attack their evil system. I'm not saying the system is evil, incidentally. I'm just saying that if you felt that way, and you might feel morally bound to attack and subvert it where possible. Those are legitimate ways to feel. And note that I'm not talking about whether you should falsify the information you actually give the company that you're doing business with. That might very well be criminal, fraudulent, or unfairly deceptive, and pretty sure is immoral, right? We're only talking about the morality of attacking the true information in your credit report. The fact that you may expect the company to use it gives rise to ethical issues that we'll discuss in our next video. What I'm asking here, though, is why would you ever feel morally obliged to do anything to help a credit reporting system which exists to make you pay more and which also exists to centralize information on people without regard to privacy or the increased risks of identity theft, among many other things? I say you have no moral obligation to do that at all. If you did feel such an obligation, you might also consider how much of the time the information in your report is going to be wrong. The Federal Consumer Protection Agency has reported that a large majority of people have false, bad information on their credit reports. How does this affect your obligation to leave truthful, bad information on your report? In my opinion, this would negate any moral obligation you might have to leave bad information on your report. There will be false information you can't do anything about, or that hurts you without your knowing it. Removing bad information that you can, even if true, evens the score a little bit. Our conversation in this video involves moral questions. In my opinion, that still leaves ethical questions about what to do with what you can do. Think of the rules of a football game. They aren't moral at all. No questions of good or bad. But how you apply those rules and act within the games are ethical questions. Our next video discusses the ethics of credit repair, how you abide by and use the rules. I'd like to hear your opinion on this if you can keep the comments reasonably polite and intelligent, this being the moral questions about credit repair. You could disagree with me, but I won't leave personal attacks up in the comments, right? No personal attacks on me or any other person making comments. Fair enough? Protect what's yours and don't let the debt collectors or the credit reporters rip you off. Debt collection and credit reporting is a social justice issue. Take action to protect yourself and help others do the same. Please like this video, share it with anybody you think could use it, subscribe and comment, as all these things help other people find our materials. yourlegalagup.com